I'm Jeff Minder, and I'm here to talk to you about the evolving role of the business analyst. Business analysis is a set of tasks and techniques used to work as liaison among stakeholders in order to understand the structure, policies, and operations of an organization and to recommend solutions that enable the organization to achieve its goals. Now, what's an important part or a key part of business analysis is to ensure that those requirements are visible to and understood by all stakeholders within the organization. So here's my business analyst, here's my development group, and here's my sales group. So my business analyst is the bridge between sales and development, be that IT development, be it manufacturing, be it construction, whatever the development is, whatever we're creating in our projects, the business analyst is the bridge, the communication bridge especially, between those end users, usually represented by a sales force on our end, and the development group on our end. Now, that's fine as the development group, in this instance will be IT. Our IT group says, hey look, I speak .NET, and I'm fluent, speak fluent SQL Server. Tell me what you need and I'll develop it for you. It's just code. I hear that all the time. It's just code. Tell me what you need, I'll develop it for you. Well, the problem is on the other end, or whether it's our sales group or our end users or our functional managers or whoever's communicating the requirements to our development group, they speak English and they may have a Facebook account, and that's the depth of their knowledge of IT. All right, and they're going to say, I will tell you what I want. So we have a big barrier here, a big bridge we have to bridge through, a gap we have to bridge between what people need and what people want. And that's the role of the business analyst. And he says, look, let me be your interpreter. I'll interpret what the end users want through a set of requirements. Development then will get those requirements and be able to build what the end users actually need. Unfortunately, as those requirements are being built, we have other stakeholders who come up with requirements such as the system must be user-friendly or something that's unmeasurable. Or another stakeholder that comes up with, hey, I have to teach people how to use this when we're done, so I want a system must be user-friendly. So all these different requirements start coming to play, and our business analyst not only has to be the bridge between our sales and our IT, but he has to be the bridge between all the other stakeholders, their needs and their wants. So we got to teach them how to separate needs from wants. Now while we're doing that, somebody's punched him in the stomach all the time, usually a project manager, other stakeholders, functional managers, accountants. Everybody's beating him up, saying when we're going to get it done, when we're going to get the scope complete, when are the requirements going to be done, how much is it going to cost, and we have to contend with all of that. Now, we get all these different projects that come through our organization today, whether it's through RAD, Rapid Application Development, Lean or Six Sigma, or even Agile development methods. I call those flavor of the month for project management. They're techniques and methodologies that have been put in place specifically to try to get our people to communicate more effectively. And the bottom line is they just need to communicate more effectively. So we have these projects coming through, and unfortunately, not very many of them get through our funnel to be actually successful projects for organization. In fact, it's pretty scary that 2008 was the worst year in a decade for project completion, successful completion. We had 68% failure rate in 2008. So this is 2009 now, so last year was the worst year on record for the last decade on project failures. So many of those reasons primarily are associated with poor requirements and poor requirements gathering. You'll see that that's 50% of projects fail because of poor requirements. Poor scope control, risk management, communications are other realms of why projects are failing, but you can tie them all to poor requirements. Here's the scariest part. The projects that succeed, the ones that then are extremely expensive when they have to carry the loss ratio over failed projects, the ones that actually succeed, 45% of their systems and functionality, features and functions are never used. 19% are rarely used. So we go through all this effort to create projects, and when we are successful with our projects, over 60% of the features and functions of an entire system are never used by our stakeholders. That's a failure to communicate. It's a house of cards that we've built. We have poor requirements, so the primary reason projects are failing at 50%. We have poor requirements, the primary reason our successful systems aren't being effectively utilized. So our bridge is a house of cards. We need to strengthen that bridge. That business analyst has to be stronger, more effective at our communications between IT and the business sector. Now, the International Institute for Business Analysis has come up with their new Babhock, or Business Analysis Body of Knowledge. It's version 2.0. It's just been released. They break down the knowledge areas for BA in a very effective way. And we provide training based on this model of business analysis efforts, and specifically in their knowledge areas. We have enterprise analysis, or how that business analyst has to look at the strategy of the organization and the overall organization when he's building his requirement sets. We have solution assessment and validation and requirements analysis, where we teach them how to get in there and actually analyze those requirements and elicit those requirements effectively through the elicitation process. So we go through our elicitation, keeping these elements in mind while we're eliciting our requirements, and the whole time we're also doing our requirements management and communication. Now, while that's happening from a business analyst perspective, we're also looking at business analysis planning and monitoring throughout that life cycle. So this is a constant cycle of effort and work to verify and validate that our requirements are, one, still meeting the end user's needs, that we're actually satisfying the needs of the end users, and two, that we're building the product correctly and validating that, or verifying that we're actually building the requirements effectively. That's all held up by specific underlying competencies, or the skills and abilities of the business analyst. Now, we offer this training so that it supports our primary scope of projects. If you remember your triple constraint, anybody who does project or project management understands that the triple constraint is what impacts every project, be it successful or a failure. It's impacted by overall cost, overall time, and the overall scope of the project. Now, you've heard the term scope creep before, and that's directly attributable to poor requirements gathering and poor requirements management. If I don't build the proper requirements, I don't have the right scope. Nobody knows what it looks like then when it's done. Therefore, my time is never accurate, my costs are never accurate, so we're always over budget, we're always over time, and our scope creeps out of control and gets like this big ocean ready to drown our entire organization in it. So this failure is directly attributed to poor requirements gathering, documentation, and management. So in essence, it's poor business analyst skill sets that are causing the majority of our project failures. We offer training here at the university and the college for enterprise analysis to get the big picture, for the business analyst to look at the organization as a whole and the enterprise as a whole. We provide a training course in eliciting and documenting requirements, using things like use cases in order to effectively communicate with the end users, and then back to the development sector to manage those requirements more effectively. And then we offer a class in analyzing and validating those requirements to ensure, again, that we're still hitting the mark. As we go through our cycles of development and design, we'll constantly have to update our requirements and make sure that our requirements still meet the needs of the organization. We can also provide this training if you can't come down to the university to get the training. We can come to your location and provide this as a one-week training program for the individuals and professionals in your organization who are responsible for business analysis. So it's not just a business analyst and business analyst job position, but it's all of us responsible to make sure that we are analyzing the business effectively, ensuring that we're building the proper requirements and creating the proper results with our new products, services, and results that effectively increase our value as a business. So come on down, get the training, and I'll see you on the high ground. I thank you very much for your time. Again, my name is Jeff Minder, and you can visit the website through YouTube.